big of a difference that would be. And most of the time, flying clouds is always just quality of life for me. Being able to make your way over to lanes faster, being able to come in with reinforcements after you died a lot faster as well. So generally just increases the pacing of the game the further you are into the opponent's territory.
Now, Yishun Shin and also CC gets taken out. It feels like Team Evo first pick. Do they snap pick the Grok? Do they take the Lancelot? There's also a Gato Karja.
Yes, they will take the Lancelot.
They'll take the Lancelot instead, which means that Flash SG, what are they going to trade? They give away the S++ tier of a jungle over the side of Team Evo. They'll take the Juicin. They'll take the Gato Karja away instead. Is this a good trade?
Honestly, the fact that the Lancelot is so comfortable with Aether, I don't care. We need to enable Aether, and we need to give him the best game.
Yep, Eve and Grok selected. These are very strong heroes that Team Evo has selected so far. I'm not a big fan of Juicin, especially in this particular roster against Team Evo, right? You don't really have somebody that can face check. Basically need to tank. They try to fight front to back. The Lancelot could easily go into iframe when the Eve opens up into the real world manipulation. You're just like immune to CC. Don't forget the Grok can also be immune to CC when he goes big as well. So yeah, need to see how could TC maneuver, especially using this mid laner.
They have a decently strong mid lane control.
What's your command?
They go in with a Fanny.
Wow, it's going to be a bit of an ego challenge once again. Fanny coming in, and this time around, the Fanny is going to have to play a little bit. I think it's a little bit awkward for me because now you're using the Fanny against a Grok. Once a Grok wall being built out, all of a sudden that could be a way for you to escape. You cable there, you get
face slam.
You basically face slam, right? Like so, you don't really hear the Attack on Titan's theme song in your ear. But Coach Bitoy, very rapid pace of a banning pool right here, right? Like
for both sides of it, actually.
The Harry gets taken away, Adamir takes away the Ruby and the Cho, targeting down most of these gold laners.
It doesn't seem like there's any ambiguity between, ambiguity for the first three picks of both teams. We know very clearly who is going to play what in this game, right? So just now left to the second phase picks, the side lanes. Team Flash will now unfortunately be the one that makes the first decision. Which and how are they going to play first? I think that they are lacking in a little bit of damage department.
Yuzhong.
Having that in the early game is pretty good.
Yuzhong once again coming in for the side of Flash. Baron did a really good job in the early game, but he's unable to transition away over to the late game. Moss, earlier just now, the Claude wasn't able to output the damage that we're looking for. Even though it was bridged over to him. But now, with the Fanny, hopefully they have a stronger early game. In the early game, especially your first turtle fight, Team Flash does have a solid team fight capability, right? You've got a potential Black Dragon form into a cutthroat to assassinate, hopefully. But now that's going to be a Alice from the side Team Evo this time around. Team Flash need to find a way to deal with this one.
The Moskov is very understandable. We can kind of see that from a mile away. The moment that you kind of see the Fanny and Fanny plus Van equals to Moskov onto Van. And I think that this is a good direction we are going with a decent amount of power spike in the mid stages of the game and to the late stages of the game. Early game, we have got powerful onto the Grok to kind of help around with the bruising element just so that Aether can get some early game kills. So I'm not too sure whether they're going to play very aggressively or not, but Team Flash, they respond with a very respectable Granger. We are once again back to standard gold lane marksman matchup.
Granger in the gold lane. You're going up against an Atlas that could just literally heal up most of her Rhapsodies. You need DPS to deal with him. Yes, you got Juicin to basically try to melt her, hopefully speaking. But I was thinking maybe something else. I would even argue with you, maybe even a carry. It's a lot easier to melt down the Atlas, especially when CC is already taken away by the side of Team Flash themselves. So, gonna go into game number 4 very, very soon. This is a Flying Cloud map. Team Evo coming in for very monster of a roster. You got a real world manipulation right into a Tor, right into a tectonic charge. Flash SG on the other hand, they need The only way they could disengage is perhaps using the God Contra on the AOG.
As such, ladies and gentlemen, we are now into game number 4 of this grand finals between Evil and Flash Singapore. Into the land of dawn we go. Will Team Flash be able to tally out the scoreline against Evil?
Evil had a very good game earlier just now. They recovered from like imminent downfall. Team Flash, on the other hand, now playing on the back foot in terms of momentum. Hades needs to have a great game, but it seems like Team Evo is ready for this Fanny. The Moscow being picked up, the Grok as well to counter, and there's also the Eve. Technically speaking, also does quite well, right? Now all of a sudden you really cannot walk the Fanny out. The Fanny needs to cable out as quickly as possible.
Mid lane turret is going to be so important from Flash. If they do get a very good early game and be able to hold out with that T1 turret in the middle lane, it's going to be great for Hades. However, they also always have to keep a lookout for any possible invasions. This is very similar to how that Joy was played by Aether and constantly just bumping into the purple buff. However, the difference here is that Fanny is very and extremely reliant on purple buff, that he will not miss that countdown timer in a heartbeat.
Knowing Team Evo, they're definitely going to play the purple buff as if it's a primary objective, right? All of a sudden, your turtle fight doesn't really look like the main thing that Team Evo is looking out for already. Team Flash, I think they need to handshake and be prepared because, you know, knowing Team Evo, they're up to no good.
There, just as a sliver of health, Aether was so close with getting those damage to bring Bear down. But a good amount of Shard residue stacks onto Aether actually brings Bear right back to a very healthy HP.
Yeah, and the Petrify gone right off the bat. That means that no Petrify for the first turtle fight. Even though you got your Black Dragon form and also you go for your Furious Dive, it is a little bit wonky right now. So it's up to Team Flash to maneuver around this one as Team Evo blitz down the turtle as quickly as possible.
Hades will come in with no purple buff at all as it is currently a level 4 early take. Hades missed that timing, allowing Aether to take the turtle down. However, he will now pay for that kill. As such, it is a 1 death score for the side of Evil.
I would say this is a good equalizer coming up with Team Flash, right? Yes, it is. You lose the turtle, however, you also take down Aether as well. You give it over to Bear. Bear should be able to make use of that kind of scaling, but we need to focus more on the gold lane, I would feel. Vanix need to make a play or perhaps start getting some form of lead because, you know, Granger, early game lane bully, unable to find anything against Van though. Van, all he has to do is just play a little bit passive, fight for his time, because towards the later part of the game, he's just gonna start shredding against Team Flash.
Such, we do have a little bit of a bump in from the side of Evil, literally right in the middle lane. With Hades, he still have the purple buff and he will definitely try to make his way around the map. It's all about high octane for Team Flash. They will run, they will sprint, they will cable, they will make their pace right into the face of Evil and try and to look for opportunities for a kill.
There's Sonata already unlocked by the side of Vanix and also Hunter Strike. Now Ven has to be the one that plays slightly passive. If you notice, Vanix just bum rushed that Hunter Strike. He's so confident. He's actually ignoring Boots as of now. However, we need to also start to see more coming out from Hades. Hades needs to start assassinating perhaps the Moskov. You don't deal with gear as well. Or perhaps start finding Sailor, burst him down before he becomes a threat.
We do know that there will be a bit of funneling that needs to be applied over to Aether. He did die once, so he's slightly behind, supposedly. But that's not the case. Aether is currently at level 7, and Hades is on his way to level 7, but he has to wait for the purple buff to appear.
Yep.
So Team Flash, they need to play around this turtle, and they really need to dance around to extend this as much as possible.
The best part about this turtle is that it's not spawning on the EXP side. It's actually spawning on the stronger side for the side of Team Flash, all right? Vanix is more than happy to basically start this this turtle together because he does have a bit of priority in lane. However, if you notice, Team Evo, nice swap, sending Moskov all the way down bot, gear all the way up top so that they can handshake this turtle fight upcoming.
with 4 members from the side of Team Flash now huddling themselves together right here on the turtle. If we were to include the gold laner of Team Flash itself, that will be 5. Jay now pushes himself right into the face of Evil and of course trying to take away the purple buff, or perhaps just a little bit of a bump. But that is not going to be anything for Evil. In fact, they're not even going to be partaking in that turtle fight.
Yeah, and if you notice, the Black Dragon from the side there to open up as much. Ooh, that's a decent chunk of damage, but that's a roamer.
He used up almost all of his energy, and that's only half HP off of the Grog.
Yep. So now, like what I mentioned, a lot more focus from the side of Flash should be onto this gear, onto this Alice. TOR already committed to wave clear as quickly as possible. Hades is time out.
Oh, that's gonna be the wall charging right in the face of Hades! Wild Bear hoping to go back in, but unfortunately the Furious Dive is a little bit delayed.
Yeah, giving 1 kill over to Ven. Ven should be able to escalate, and that's the reason why you go for the Moskov when you fight against a Fanny. Team Flash, on the other hand, unable to take down topside turret as well, and now another wall being built.
It's now petrified. Furious Dive onto Van. The Shara has to do builds up. Is it enough? It's not!
It's not enough. That's actually a little bit of a sad news for the side of Bear. The wall and the powerful wall and also Van's Spear of Misery is just giving so much misery over the side of Team Flash. Item check right here. Yes, Hades has already secured. His blades have a seize right here. But if you notice Team Evo, they've already Aether has already got a War Axe, whereas the Sailor is working towards the glowing one as well. Cortese is taking a bit of a long route, securing the gem first before going into his own glowing one.
The thing is, for Fanny will only start to grow exponentially the moment that he gets 2, 3 items, as he's able to zoom across the map like no tomorrow, right? Clearing out lanes after lanes after lanes. But they also have to identify that positioning, the gold priority. It gotta have to go to Vanix as a position 1. But for now, in the early stages, I think that most of these farms still gotta have to go to Hades, and they need to respect that.
Decent damage already from the side of Aether. Bear picking up bot lane and top lane traded between these 2 teams.
With the turtle now just spawned, this might be the contest that we are looking for. And this is going to be RWM coming in from the side of Sailor. They want to box everyone else away from the side of Team Flash, while Hades comes in from behind. He tries to get the turtle down, but unfortunately wasn't able to do that. As such, it will be Gear that picks up the kill. And now Bear rushes right in. The AOG comes in, but they are not going to be able to get anything out of that fight.
The TOR goes in, literally locks everybody down for the side of Flash. Vanix as well, stuck in a very awkward position. Powerful right there. Good choice coming out for them to basically slow down the tectonic charge. Doesn't want to land on Vanix because the main focus right there from the side of Team Evil is to take down the turtle. And now with 2 turtle in their pockets, Aether is slightly ahead in terms of EXP. It's more than enough. You put Hades back into a backseat position. They've done the mission.
We're back onto neutral game, where both teams, they will kind of stand back a little bit and try to identify where they are on the map and where the opponents are. Now the problem when it comes down to Evil is that the gold lane T1 turret is already gone. And is it worth it for Moskov to move on and kind of go for a lane swap down to the bottom lane where he will be able to farm in peace? Is that something they're trying to go for, or do they want to bump in and try to go for the split push just so that they can bring down that T1 turret, which is technically something that Moskov wants to do. Cross-map plays.
But don't forget, Fanny can also do his... Oh, that's the wall I was talking about!
That's the wall that we're talking about! And now the SODs are going to be landing, and such will be helping Van run away! So this is actually pretty darn good for the side of Evil, while now Flash finding themselves in a little bit of a tough spot. Gear is literally going to be the vanguard of the team.
Man, that's exactly why it's a really tough game for the side of Fanny. If Hades will be able to pull off this Fanny game, that's amazing because 2 heroes are literally stacked against her. You've got the Moskov, you've also got the Grok. That wall literally block anything that Hades want to do as well. Vanix, on the other hand, wasn't able to join the fight earlier just now, but because Van is just ready to pounce right there, picking up another kill, allowing him to get the necessary item. Vanix, on the other hand, unable to find kills because, and also, that means that he's not able to get any form of Sky Piercer stacks.
We know that having a Moskov is essentially a hard counter to the Fanny because it just pins to the wall and Fanny loves the walls. While in the meantime, Powerful as a Grog is more of a soft counter to the side of Fanny. But because of this combination of this hard counter plus soft counter on the side of Grog, it kind of feels like we elevated the power or rather the effectiveness and impact of the wall that Grog is able to bring in to make it into more of a double hard counter against this Fanny.
Yeah. The best part about this particular patch, especially this revamped Grok, is that you don't really need to rely on your wild charge, technically speaking, now called tectonic charge. There's also another way for you to gain some form of CC as long as you slam the members into the wall, so that's A-okay. But now Flash SG may have to play and fight this Lord on a slight back foot.
It is currently at level 12 as opposed to Aether at level 13. They are definitely trying to fight for this as they manage to repel Jay away with half HP to his name. It's definitely going to force him to go back home, but that is information that Evil would not know of. They were trying to go for a standoff once again and kind of play things slow.
Yeah. Van is already working down bot, will show himself just a little bit more. Van is sending out damage.
Broad cut DZ down to a very low HP. The Black Dragon soars above the skies, zones, and of course circles around a powerful. He don't have a lot of HP, but the Shard residue will build up. While Aether clears up the lanes down in the middle lane, while Van split pushes down in the bottom. Hades, we're responding in kind up to the top lane. Cable's out of the way.
But he's not able to take down topside turret, right? Oh no,
the
minions will be able to, more than enough to do so. As Team Flash right now, and also Team Evil congregates around the Lord Pit.
As now Jay is looking for a taunt down, and he will be able to get that one onto gear. But it is all just a tad little bit of a poke. Powerful actually doesn't have a lot of HP to work with. As such, they might need to go for a little bit of a reset before re-engaging against this Lord.
Bit of a damage port onto Gear as well. Hades also used quite a decent chunk of energy just to try to do that, but Gear just instantly heals everything all the way back up. Now it's time for Hades to go back to take his own purple buff as well. If you notice how Hades has been building this particular Fanny, right? Not a lot of defensive items. Usually you expect maybe a brute force breastplate or maybe even a dreadnought armor, especially when you're going up against something like a Lancelot, right? Skill-based damage is something that you really want to minimize. But now Team Evil, solid control around Lord Pit, up to Team Flash to do something.
We have to remember that execution is actually very important because of Flying Clouds. And speaking of Flying Cloud, Jay will be coming in. Aether takes the Lord down. Everyone is just going to be fighting right inside of CR as well as RWM. We do an SOD. Just in. Void. Van doing what he can. Slamming on the misery and spears right into Jay. Super califragilisticexpialidocious. Finally, I got it out of my head.
I was like, what kind of language is that, Abstract? But hey, that doesn't really matter because Team Flash earlier just now, they're running low on steam as well, right? Like, there's so much that Vanix can only do because you've got Grok. You've also got like the likes of Gear going in and the real wall manipulation, zoning the rest of the members from the side of Team Flash. There's nothing that Team Flash could do but watch that Lord gets taken down.
Now the T1 turret in the middle lane will be taken down with the Lord that will be marching in from the bottom lane. We are almost looking at an entire outer lanes for Team Flash SG to be taken down, but there is still that one in the center. That is the T2.
Yeah, now the Lord marching up against Team Flash. Gear on this TOR is just, man, it's a massive madness right there.
Oh. They were almost looking for something right there.
Yep,
but we are looking for the SOD as well as the TOR right into the heart of Flash. Van picks up the kill on the Vanix and they will be trying to move everything into the heart of Flash. We already have the one person each that will be taken down. In fact, both of the marksmen is dead already. Hades look for an opportunity to run away right after getting the assassination in onto Aether.
Solid defense coming out of Team Flash. RBA losing Vanix right there. But you can start to see the damage coming off of Ben is starting to be a lot more problem. Gear engaging and charging off the TOR is literally limiting Team Flash on whatever they do. If Barrett's unable to maneuver around the map, applying Shard residue all over the place, he will not be able to survive these fights any longer.
With 70 seconds left until the next Lord eventually spawns. One thing that we gotta have to remember is Team Flash now have got a heavy lane down in the bottom lane. It's gonna be real difficult for Team Flash to try to take up any future Lord fights. But fortunately, the next Lord is down in the bottom. It is not on the opposite of this tough lane for Flash.
Yeah, Flash could basically reinforce that lane very quickly and then move all the way back up. The Wind of Nature already secure by the side of Vanix. See Halbert as well. He needs a lot more than that to be able to deal with Gear. You can see the Rhapsody damage poured down into Team Evil. Team Evil is ready to soak up everything, especially on the hands of Powerful. Hades goes for the Sea Halbert as well, and also Hunter Strike. He's looking to try to burst, but he's unable to burst anybody from the side of Team Evil, unfortunately.
Looks like We do have God Aether trying to look for something. It forced the Wind of Nature on the side of Vanix. This might actually be further opportunity that it can try to go for. Hades got stopped. When Tectonic Charge is not going to land. While in the meantime, the Spear of Destruction is just coming to be landing, and Van just joins into the team fight. Unfortunately, Aether is going to be the first one to go down, while the next blood goes to Bear as Van picks that kill up. The AOG from Jay gets him running away, while Gear continues to sway.
Yeah, it's just Team Flash was able to trade at the very least Aether, right? One jungler down, but it doesn't really matter because they take down Bear. Bear slowing down is actually wonderful news for the side of Team Evil. But now it's also a little bit of an awkward position right now. Team Evil doesn't really have a jungler, needs to buy some form of time, maybe another 10 seconds. But Flash, unless Hades want to go for a bit of a drive-by.
You know that this is Flying Clouds.
Yep.
I'm not too sure whether they have any more clouds for the side of Team Flash Singapore.
Be able to do so, right? Hades is on the opposite side of the map. He's actually making his way all the way down. Flash SG, on the other hand, they do have Bear on the Black Dragon form. Hopefully, we'll be able to disrupt as much as possible. But the TOR is just a big problem. Crimson Beacon already used by Curtizi.
A power spike for the side of Ven as he just picks up the Malefic gun. This is gonna be huge. Although I gotta know. Does Fanny have the purple buff? Yes, he does. As now, it's just going to be spinning for days. The airborne onto the side of Hades, but he will definitely be able to assassinate Sailor! All the way to the back, he cables right out of the way! While Van looks for the kill down on the Vanix, and instead, it's a double kill! Sailor returns and retaliates, gets the kill down on the Hades somehow! While triple kill credits over to Van! Jay gives the Maniac over to Van!
And the worst part is, Flash, there's nobody left at home, left at base to basically defend against this abstract. Team Evil, that was a Maniac for the side of Van, and now this is the final surge and also the leap as Team Evil secures game number 4. 1 game away, abstract. One game away.
This is match point.
Tournament point.
Tournament point. Championship point.
Ticket point.
Coronation point. We are almost at that stage where we crown a new king. But we're not gonna get ahead of ourselves just yet. As of course, Flash is known for their resilience. They're not gonna go down that easily. And in fact, I think that we are gonna be treated with some crazy game in the next one, because that, as we mentioned, is the life of Flash Singapore that is at stake here.
Yeah, literally, like, the Flash literally just flashed the light, flashed through their eyes. All of a sudden, this is a very awkward position. 1 game away before Team Evil booked their tickets all the way to Jakarta, all the way to M7. They are close. We are close to making history, not only just in NPL Singapore, but also in the rest of the NPL, because for the first time, it may be a new champion for the side of NPL Singapore, and Team Flash gets their 5-pit denied.
I would like to believe that denying a 5-pit, which is a monumental achievement throughout the entire international MLBB competitive world, this is a huge, big matter.
Yeah, and the fact is none of the NPL teams actually made it through 5-pit, right? Mostly falter at around 4-pit. But now Team Evil, man, they are just so huge right now. That confidence, that momentum that they have they're just ready to erupt, and they're ready to show who's boss in NPL Singapore.
As such, ladies and gentlemen, it's gonna be tough for us to really crown an MVP for this very specific game itself. But what's your MVP for this one?
I think it's just I would say Grok. I would say
you'll say Grok?
Powerful. Yeah,
okay.
I would say powerful because, man, I think in the previous game his contribution was kind of not done really well, not really given a lot of credit. But this time I'm gonna give credit over the side of Gear on this Alice, on this MVP. In this particular series, something is actually kind of wonky, right? You see a lot of teams prioritize on the Alice, but all of a sudden Team Evil pulls out the Alice, and then after that they basically lock down a lot of things that what Team Flash wants to do, and they're not able to do so.
I think that the clue of this game for Team Flash was to fight back with a Fanny. But I think that they didn't really quite expect that the counter and the fight back is something as simple as a Grok plus a Moskov. And of course, I think that for the side of Hades, he have played against these two heroes up routine amount of times in his career. He knows how to go around it. As such, it's not really just about these two picks that really just outright denied Hades of his game. It is something bigger altogether.
Yeah. Team Flash finding themselves in the back foot. This is a little bit awkward, right? Hades, like I mentioned, I don't know why they really forced this Fanny through, right? You've got Ven, you've got the Powerful. These are two heroes that literally counters exactly what the Fanny wants to do. You don't forget, your gear goes in the TOR, makes easy pickings. You couple gear alongside with Sailor on these two heroes together. It's just CC Festival. All inside that box. You have the circle, you have a pentagon, you have a triangle, you have a rectangle, and you have Van that could just teleport from one place to another. It's just a little bit too much for Flash to handle, right? Vanix, even though with the Rhapsody, he's able to get quite a decent amount of games as decent amount of damage with the Sea Halberd and the Malefic Gun and Malefic Roar. Still not good enough because Powerful is thick. You also got Gear, who is also thick, and Van is just throwing spears at your face and just spraying AoE all across.
Ultimately, the one that really clenched out the game, or rather, what really solidified the game, gotta have to be a big power spike from the side of Ven, right? Having the Malefic Gun with the enhanced reach the opponents, especially since we saw Aether going down pretty darn early in that previous team fight. That was a tough call, the fact that they no longer have Aether, and they also lost the Lord for that one. And somehow, wait, wasn't that the one that Flash got the Lord?
Well,
oh, maybe I'm having a little bit of a brain fart.
No, Flash did not even get a Lord. If you take a
look,
look,
they didn't get the Lord at all.
Team Evil doesn't really need, a last Lord, right? That last Lord,
they just ran it down in the middle lane right after getting those wins.
Yeah, that last Lord was just an excuse to be able to take down Flash SG. Van was so huge earlier just now, picking up a Maniac for the side of Team Evil as well, just literally throwing spears one after another against Flash SG. The spread of damage is just too much to hold. Jay got taken down immediately. Just take a look at the damage taken by the side of Jay. 187k damage, whereas, Team Evil is just really coming online, especially when everybody gets stuck inside the box, inside the circle. And of course, don't forget, you also have the Tectonic Charge from Powerful.
Crazy amount of damage going all across the board.